future of work environments, creating livable and productive working habitats. What geological rock layers of work did you uncover?
One remarkable thing that is worthwhile mentioning here is the long-term survival of the standard employment relationship. Quite maybe in contrast to some widespread beliefs, permanent employment still matters and is still a predominant form of employment in continental Europe. And the other element that I would like to mention is sort of this hierarchical and bureaucratic way of organizing. Also, this continues despite new waves of HR models or managerial approaches as they have been implemented over the last few decades.
What remains of the golden age of employment?
The promise of stable employment is still valid. It looks like both from an employer point of view, but also from an individual point of view, this is still viable and potentially attractive to the extent that this type of long-term employment relationships are productive and also livable, so to speak. However, internally, this type of employment has become much more flexible, in a way also more competitive over time.
What do you mean by the Okapi zone of paid work?
So the modern world of work creates a lot of options for choice, but it also generates some demands how to organize the boundaries between different spheres of paid work, but also between work and non-work or non-paid work. So individuals are in a position where they need to find ways how to articulate their demands, their preferences regarding the definition of these boundaries, but also some practices how to pass from one sphere to the other. In that respect, I'm not just talking about, let's say, maybe the boundary between working time and leisure, but also between more, let's say, standardized and highly organized parts of paid work and zones where there's some sort of wilderness. And this I call the Okapi zone, where there's some potential also for job crafting, for adjusting employment or working tasks for individual capacities and preferences.
What is the digital paradox?
We see a lot of, let's say, advances in digital technology, including artificial intelligence. And this basically means sort of an automation of certain tasks, even more demanding, let's say, cognitive tasks that we use to perform. However, to the extent that this process is advancing more and more, human work will rather be allocated to tasks that are somehow non-automatable, and that means in a way closer to certain human capabilities that are not available for automation via artificial intelligence. Especially dealing with other human beings, I think, becomes an important element of the world of work of tomorrow. And that means also that, for example, explaining what maybe is derived through complex data-intensive medical diagnosis to the patients becomes even more important, or accompanying job seekers when searching for a job, giving advice to individuals how to maneuver through the labor market that is changing. This cannot be done through technological solutions only, but needs some personal interaction. I think this can be termed sort of the digital paradox.
What policies could improve working habitats?
One of the main challenges for the near future is definitely to design policies that help raise the individual bargaining power in the labor market. And this has very much to do with human capital, with skills that can be brought to the sphere of work, but it also goes much beyond that. One element that is important is what I call productive constraints, or for example, wage setting, but also, for example, regulations regarding participation at the workplace, so that individual workers can make the most out of their individual capabilities and negotiate a better deal, improving the terms of trade that they can realize on the labor market. I think there's also some potential, especially in the European context, also to encourage a better sharing of economic capital that not necessarily has to remain concentrated with entrepreneurs or owners of companies, but can also include workers, so that they sort of take sort of a double role here, both as employees but also as partial owners of companies, for example.